Hi, this is Roland from PMI JCM Realty Group, where we manage properties from an asset management perspective. Today, what we're going to talk about are 5 challenges today's rental investors are facing and how to solve them. As you know, right now is a time where the market is really hot. But even with the market being as hot as it is, there are some volatility happening in the market, particularly since, interest rates are scheduled to go up, stock market is going up and down like a seesaw. And it's causing some issue or some anxiety within the rental property or real estate end of things. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go over 5 of the challenges that we're experiencing today. And I'm going to give you some real world solutions on how to solve them. And so the first topic that I want to talk about are the combating rising interest rates. Now, the Fed has talked about raising interest rates for quite a while. And the Federal Reserve is going to actually raise interest rates. From what I understand, they're going to have 6 rate hikes, over the course of 2 years or something like that at 0.25 points or something like that. And, it's going to give anyone who's looking to get a loan for a property, there's going to be issues there, right? Because whenever interest rates go up, prices start to drop or level off. And with inflation where it is right now, they have to do something. So what are you going to do as an investor, right? So one of the things that you can do is get fixed rate loans and get them locked in now. You can, when you're buying properties, you can assume mortgages. Wraparound mortgages is probably going to be pretty hot coming up. You're going to be assuming mortgages. You're going to find all the ways you can to keep the current rates that people have now, as opposed to buying properties at the new rates. And so some of those strategies are definitely going to help. Like I said, assuming mortgages, wraparound loans, owner financing, all those things are going to help ease those pressures that you're going to experience inevitably when the rates go up. It's going to minimize your risk as well. So number 2, right? So labor, supply chain, inflation. Inflation is kind of tied into all of this, right? Is what's making the interest rates go up, because, making the interest rates go up is going to slow down, people buying properties, is going to slow down the price of homes are selling for, and hopefully they're hoping that that's going to slow down inflation as well. Supply chain has been a mess since COVID, and I don't know if that's going to necessarily get fixed or cleaned up anytime soon. And with the government giving people free money, it's made it so that some people felt like, why should I work and get less money than I'm getting paid for staying home, right? And so regardless of your political views, when you look at your balance sheet, you can't deny those trends. These things are realistic and they're happening, right? But how do you protect your property, right? How do you protect your investment from the workforce, liability, volatility, and the supply chain strain? The reality is you have to pay better attention to your portfolio. And you want to be selective about the opportunities that you're getting yourself into. You don't want to take on projects that are going to be, that's going to take a lot of materials and a lot of labor, right? So you want to get projects that you can put together pretty quickly. Think properties that are more move-in ready than not, right? That's going to protect you from having to, wait for materials to come in that may be impacted by supply chain. The amount of labor that you're going to need is going to be less, right? And like I said, inflation is going to be inflation. But the reality is you want to get turnkey investments that are not going to be impacted by those 2 areas, labor and supply chain. Like I said, no matter what you do, inflation is going to be there. So we're all going to have to deal with it as it is, but try to get more turnkey investment. One turnkey investment that you may want to look at is something called pad splits. It's called fractional housing. And, even with that, you're going to need some materials, right? Because there's some work that needs to go into the properties after you get them to do a pass split. But look at acquiring or getting into turnkey investment is going to help protect against the supply chain and labor issues. Now, Forbes says focus on ESG, and I believe that should be that's something that you definitely should look into, right? And so what ESG stands for is environmental, social and corporate factors. In this society, particularly with social media these days, people are making decisions about what companies to deal with based on their stances on environmental and social issues, right? And even corporate factors. You've seen a couple of companies getting hot water based on, stances that they took. And so, again, this is not an article that's meant to be political, but as an investor, you need to pay attention to those kind of things as well. And you need to proactively address those ESG concerns. Now, as an investor, if you're not a big corporate entity, you may not have to deal with that as much, but as you grow, you have to be very conscious what your positions are and how they're viewed by your customer base, because those things can definitely impact your return on investment. One thing that I would say is, hey, be unapologetically you, as long as you're doing things honestly, as long as you're doing things ethically. Where you fall on the environmental, social, and corporate factors should not prevent you from running a successful business. And if people don't want to work with you because of that, then you just got to find clients who see the value of your services as more important or critical than those particular areas. The fourth is tenant preferences and lifestyle changes. So, the reality is right now, for a very long time, people try to live, close to where they work. But now where the technology is where it is, and a lot of people can work remotely, there's not as much of a need for people to work close to where they work. And so how do you identify growth areas where it's no longer going to be a huge factor that someone has to live close to where they work? What are those key anchors that are going to draw people to be near particular neighborhoods? And those things may change depending on, the city that you're in. Traditionally, you have, universities, big hospitals, grandiose malls. Those are all great places to live near to, because that those things, or those are great places to invest near to, because that people are going to want to be close to those areas. So I would still say that those things are still relevant, right? Because regardless of where people work, they're going to want to live close to those amenities. Even though a lot of people do buy things online, people still do go out and want to be close to, the highway. People still want to be close to malls. People still want to have experiences, right? And so having your properties near where people can have great experiences are going to be a good avenue for you to invest in. So malls are great, particularly how people are reinventing malls these days. I would say, colleges and universities, even though there's a lot of online university activity going on, there are still plenty of individuals who are going on campus to go to school. So promote the amenities of the properties and still try to look for key anchors, because those things are still going to be important for people to be around. And of course, when it comes to schooling, most parents, even though a lot of parents do homeschool their kids, The reality is they love to get their kids out into it's the best schools in the area because they don't want to, or they really can't stay home with the kids and still focus on the work that they need to do. And then the last is, the technology and engagement strategy. As your portfolio grows, you're going to have to make sure that you're up to date with all the high-tech innovations, right? You got to make sure you're leveraging them, because if you don't, you may fall behind. There are some great, easy to use tools at your disposal that everyone can use and to help every facet of your business, from collecting rent, how you schedule contractors, to how you design remodels, and how you communicate with your vendors. These efficiencies are essential for improving your bottom line. So, the question I have is, do you have any of these common challenges? If you do, you can contact PMI JCM Realty Group because we're always here to help. We actually have a free webinar that's coming up that's going to teach you how to maximize or streamline your rental portfolio for maximum growth. We're always trying to keep our fingers on the pulse of the industry within the Tampa metro area. And this webinar is geared to help you understand how to be successful as a rental property owner. So we're going to talk about this topic. We're also going to talk about how to guarantee a rent even if the tenant doesn't pay. We're also going to show you ways that you can protect yourself from bad tenants, and how to increase your return on your investments. And also, don't forget, we do have a Facebook group that's available to you. We have seasoned investors that are going to help you if you have any questions about rental properties, and they have the same kind of goals that you have. And so they're going to provide great guidance on how to make sense of the market, what's happening, and it's completely free and 100% available to you. If you have any questions specifically for me, you can put a meeting on my calendar based on the link in this article, or you can reach me at 813-333-9617. You can also email me at rcharles@pmijcmrealty.com. Thank you and have a great day.